from the stars. Keniston watched them come, the four vague figures walking slowly through the dawn toward New Middletown. His heart pounded and his mouth was dry, and he was strangely afraid. Perhaps it was the manner of their coming that made him so, the brooding, enigmatic bulk of that unknown ship, that long and cautious silence. It came to him that they too were doubtful. The three leading figures resolved themselves gradually into men, clad in slacks and jackets against the biting cold. The fourth member of the party trudged along some distance behind them, a stocky form veiled in the blowing dust. Mayor Garrus said wonderingly, "They look just like us. I guess people haven't changed much after all in a billion years." Keniston nodded. For some reason, the cold knot in the pit of his stomach would not relax. There was something overpowering in this incredible meeting of two epochs. He glanced at the others. Their faces were white and tense. There was a feeling of excitement verging almost on hysteria. The strangers were close enough now to distinguish features. The stocky laggard remained indistinct, but of the three who came before, Keniston saw now that only two were men. The third was a blue-eyed woman, tall and light, with hair the color of pale gold, smooth coiled about her head. Keniston was struck by her. He had seen more beautiful women, but he had seldom seen one who carried herself with such grace and authority, and who looked at the world with such a direct, intelligent gaze. Almost instantly, he resented her, for no more reason than that she made him instantly conscious of the vast horizons of knowledge and experience which were far beyond his present ken. And yet, her mouth was friendly, quite a strong mouth, but ready to smile. The younger of the two men was broad and hard and healthy, with sorrel hair and one of those frank, jovial faces that is built over flint. Like the woman's, his attitude was of alert, half-cautious reserve. The other man was thin and untidy and very human. He had none of the cool reserve of his companions. He was excited and showed it, blinking eagerly at the Middletowners. Keniston warmed to him at once. There was a strange silence, and the woman and two men stopped. They looked at the Middletowners, and the Middletowners stared at them. Then the woman said something to her companions in a rapid, unfamiliar tongue. The younger man nodded silently, and the thin, eager man poured out a tumbling flood of words. Mayor Garrus stepped forward hesitantly, a paradox of pompous humility. He said, and stopped. The small word vanished away on the wind, and he could seem to find nothing to replace it. The blonde woman regarded him with her bright gaze, intent and faintly amused. The thin man stepped forward toward them. Forming the words very carefully, he said, "Middletown calling." And again, "Middletown calling." Keniston was shaken by a great amazement. Relief and understanding made him almost giddy for the moment, and he heard again his own tired voice speaking those two hopeless pleading words into a silence that neither heard nor answered. But it had heard. It had answered from somewhere. From where? Another world? Another star? Not from anywhere on Earth, surely. That great ship had never stooped to make such a paltry journey. He heard Mayor Garrus utter a squeaking, strangled cry. A wave of shock, audible in the indrawn breath of every man there, swept the tight-packed group. Keniston's wandering thoughts came back with a start. The fourth member of the party had come up and joined the other three, and Keniston himself was appalled at what he saw. The fourth of the newcomers was not human. Man-like, yes, but not a man. He was tall, his body enormously strong and massive, his thick arms ending in hands like heavy paws. He was clothed in his own shaggy fur, supplemented by a harness-like garment. His head was flattened, its muzzle protruding in the fashion of a beast, his round and tufted ears alert, and his eyes. It was the eyes that were most shocking. They met Keniston's, large and dark and full of a quick, penetrating intelligence. Good-natured eyes, curious, smiling. The mayor had backed away. His face was quite white. He cried out shrilly, "Why, it isn't human!" The furry one looked puzzled by this outburst. He glanced at the woman and the two men, and they all looked at Garrus, frowning, as though at a loss to understand his fright. The creature moved toward Garrus a step or two, his paw-like hands outstretched. He spoke in a slow, rumbling voice and smiled, showing a row of great teeth that glistened sharp as sabers in the light. Garrus shrieked, and Keniston saw panic on the faces of the other men and saw the guns come up. "Wait!" he yelled, and darted forward, thrusting the mayor aside. "For God's sake, wait, you fools!" He faced them, standing so that his body shielded the alien one. He had, himself, a revulsion from that creature that was both beast-like and manlike. But the furry one had looked at him and had smiled. "Don't shoot!" he cried. "It's intelligent! It's one of them!" "Stand aside, Keniston," shouted the mayor, his voice high with panic. "The brute looks dangerous!" The guns he faced swung sharply away from Keniston. He turned and saw that the four newcomers had suddenly stepped a little to one side, and abruptly the scene ended. The woman raised her hand in a swift gesture. From the ship out on the plain came a flash of white light. It struck like a snake at all the crowd of Middletowners in the portal. It struck and was gone in an instant. Keniston had been in its path too. He felt a stunning shock in every nerve of his body. There was only a split second of pain, and then a numbed paralysis, as from an electric shock. He saw Garrus and Hubble and the others stagger, their faces white and shaken, the guns dropped from nerveless hands. Then the furry one trudged toward Keniston. Again, his dark eyes smiled. He made reassuring rumbling sounds, and his big paw-like hands kneaded into Keniston's neck with expert deftness. The paralysis of Keniston's nerves began to fade. The sorrow-haired younger man had stepped forward and picked up one of the fallen guns. The incredulity came into his eyes as he examined it. He said something in a sharp voice to the others. They looked the gun over and over. Then, puzzled and startled, they stared at Keniston and at the other Middletowners who now seemed returning to normal. "They've got a death ray or something," choked Bertram Garrus. "They can kill us." Hubble said savagely, "Shut up! You're making an ass of yourself. That weapon was only a non-lethal means of defense that you forced them to use." The woman called excitedly to the furry one. "Gore Hall!" It was obviously his name, and Gore Hall rejoined the other three. He too uttered sounds of bewilderment as he looked at the gun. Keniston spoke to Hubble, ignoring Garrus and the dazed police. "I think they've just begun to suspect where we came from." The excitement of the four newcomers was obvious. It was the woman, Keniston noticed, who first recovered from that bewilderment. She spoke quickly to the thin, blinking man, the one who had so happily repeated, "Middletown calling." From her repeated use of the name, Keniston guessed the man was called Piers Eglin. And Piers Eglin looked the most staggered of all the four, and the most joyful. He came back to Keniston. He almost devoured him with those blinking eyes. "Middletown," he said, and then, after a moment, "Friends." Keniston seized on it. "Friends? Then you speak English?" The word English set Piers Eglin off into a new paroxysm of excitement. He began to babble to the others, but the woman cut him short. He swung back to Keniston. "English language," he almost panted. "You speak English language." Keniston simply nodded. A look of awe crept into Piers Eglin's blinking eyes as he asked, "Who? No." He began again. "Where? do you come from?" "From the past," Keniston answered, and felt the full unreality of it as he said it. "From far in the past." "How far?" Keniston realized that 20th century dates would mean little after all these epochs. He thought for a moment, then he said, "Very far in the past. In our lifetime, atomic power was first released." "So far," whispered Piers Eglin numbly. "But how? How?" Keniston shrugged helplessly. "There was an atomic explosion over our city. We found our whole city in this age. That's all." The thin man feverishly translated for the others. The woman showed deep interest. But it was Gore Hall, the furry one, who made the longest comment in his rumbling voice. Piers Eglin swung back to Keniston, but Keniston stemmed the other's eager questions by a question of his own. "Where do you come from?" The thin one pointed up at the dawn-lit sky. "From..." He seemed trying to remember the ancient name. Then, "From Vega." It was Keniston's turn to be staggered. "But you're Earthmen." He pointed to Gore Hall's furry figure. "And what about him?" Again, Piers Eglin seemed to search his memory for a name. Then he said it. "Capella. Gore Hall is from Capella." There was a silence in which the four looked at the men of Middletown. Keniston's mind was a chaotic whirl, out of which one thing stood clear. The televisor radio of this domed city had indeed been far outside his